Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios, Kokomlemle in Accra, at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country, including Kekeli FM Ho, Radio 123 Tamale, and Radio Max in Takrade. It's on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, DigiBank, Let's Go, and SuperSem. Build your dream. And coming up, 4 Indian businessmen and 2 Ghanaians nabbed in dawn operation by armed national security operatives at Ahojo in Kumasi.
There were other 3 bodybuilders with the guns and everything. Then there were a man with the police Lacoste, and the other 2 guys. They were the ones doing the session. There were other 3 bodybuilders with the guns and everything.
We'll hear from their family as they demand their whereabouts and appeal for their release. Government directs PDS to provide ECG with detailed revenue collection and expenditure report weekly as it prepares to unfreeze its account. Meanwhile, Special Prosecutor says he's not mandated to investigate financial crimes following calls to probe PDS saga.
This is a clear opportunity for the Special Prosecutor to move into action and do justice to this subject matter.
Police delegation heads to Takrade to meet families of 3 kidnapped girls after they all backed down on their refusal to cooperate and provide samples for forensic analysis.
As I'm speaking, they all agreed. Even the one that they are finding it difficult to, agree, I have been able to convince them to agree to go for the DNA.
We're live to our reporter in sports.
Transfer deadline day is here and teams are frantically scrambling to get their last-minute additions in. We'll look at players on the move in 20.
And later in the bulletin,
if I should go for it again, I will still go for vaginal.
If you know you're not comfortable with the vaginal, please have your CS.
If men are concerned about how tight your vaginas are, maybe they need to focus on making their penises bigger.
We'll bring you the views of women on the birthing methods they choose and if giving a second chance, if they will stick to vaginal or cesarean section. What's your experience? That's coming up later here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau.
Mama say dia na how.
What you hear there is a relative of one of 2 Ghanaians crying after national security operatives picked them up at Ahojo in Kumasi yesterday. According to the relatives, 4 Indian businessmen and 2 Ghanaians were picked up in a dawn operation by armed national operatives. The 13 armed operatives, some of them wearing khaki uniforms, seized 2 duffel bags full of cash, 13 mobile phones, gold nuggets, and other gadgets. My colleague Erastus Asaredonko has been speaking to Esla Osei, daughter of one of the detained guys, Charles Osei.
I was there and my mom just woke me up. I should get out, but there are some men in the house. So when I came out, I was far asleep, so I wasn't even getting what she was saying. So when I came out and I saw a big, a bodybuilder and with a gun, and then he was in a black shirt and the khaki trousers, and he was like, we should come out. So then my daddy went out and he was also...
Was he armed?
We don't know because at that moment...
When you saw him, was he holding a gun?
Yes, he was. He was holding the big one, and then he was having small one too in his bulletproof top. So when he came, he just asked us to move. We should come, but we shouldn't go inside again. So me, even by then, I was still in that sleeping mood. So I didn't understand what was really going on. And as soon as I saw him, I was very afraid because I've not seen such a person. So he just asked us to come, and he walked us to some of the Indian in their hall. Then my father was also coming, so he was trying to even enter our room, and they didn't make him enter, so they just brought us here. So when they brought us here, they asked for...
You mean to the hall where we are standing now?
they asked for our phones. So there were some phones plugged, they themselves went to unplug them and placed it on a center table. And when they placed it there, for me, my phone was in our room, so they just followed me and my dad. He was also charging his phone, and then they walked us to the room and took the phones, and they brought the phones here. Then after that, they asked, like, there are CCTV cameras around. One of them asked them to disconnect the CCTV cameras.
So you have Esla Osei, she's daughter of one of the detained persons, Charles Osei. But my colleague Erastus Asaridonko, like I said, has been following this and he joins us on the line. So Erastus, what time exactly did this operation go down?
So it was around 6 in the morning.
So do we know why they conducted this exercise? What information have we picked up?
Well, I first contacted my sources at the BNI. They were not aware of this operation. I spoke to some national security operatives. They were not aware, but the Regional Police Command was aware. They told us that, yes, they were told that there was a national security team from Accra to conduct a special operation in Kumasi. They are not aware of the details or why these people have been arrested.
But from the information you are picking up from residents and relatives of these persons, why exactly would they be picked up by the national security operatives?
Well, these are gold dealers. They've set up an office in Kumasi, in that particular house where they buy gold from small-scale miners. I do not know whether this is in connection with that. There was a gentleman who was coming into the house at that moment. They accosted him, took his gold nuggets, and they gave him a paper. On that paper, there's a description of offense which indicates smuggling, gold smuggling. So I do not know whether this whole thing is connected to the sale or buying of gold.
So 4 Indian businessmen and 2 Ghanaians, do we know where they are being kept now?
At the moment, it's not clear, but I'm told by the occupants of the house that they said they were taking them to Accra, specifically where they did not tell them, but they just said that they were taking them to Accra. As of now, they've not heard from them. They've not had any information as to where they've been taken.
But you've been interacting with the family, though. What do they intend to do about this?
So as I speak, they told me that they've contacted a lawyer and they are going to Accra. So by the time I was leaving, they were also leaving for Accra, and they want to go to the National Security Headquarters to find out whether indeed their relatives are there.
We are very worried. Even yesterday, after they left around 11, so I went to the nearby police station to check if they were armed robbers, because we didn't know whether truly they were from the National Security Service or...
And up to now, you've not heard anything from Accra?
Yes, we've not heard anything from Accra. We've not heard anything from those that they took to.
Including your father?
Yes, my father.
So what are you preparing to do now?
Right now, we want to go to Accra because since they said they were from the National Security Service, we want to go there and find out whether they are really there or they aren't there, because right now we don't know what to do. We are calling their phones. Their phones isn't going through, but they took my phone. For my phone, it's still going through.
You heard the Erastus Asaridonko interacting with relatives of these persons that have been picked up by the national security operatives. We'll keep our ears and eyes on that and bring you details as and when we get them. But moving on, government has directed the Power Distribution Services, PDS, to provide ECG with a detailed revenue collection and expenditure report on weekly basis. Now, this comes after the Finance Ministry begins steps to unfreeze bank accounts of PDS. The Financial and Intelligence Center last week froze the bank accounts of PDS following the detection of anomalies in the bank guarantee it provided prior to the takeover of ECG's assets. Joy News sources say the latest decision to unfreeze the account is to ensure that funds are available for payment of workers' salaries as well as cater for the operational costs of the company. Here are extracts of that letter.
The letter signed by Deputy Minister for Finance Charles Edubwany is addressed to the Chief Executive Officer, Power Distribution Services Limited, the Managing Director, Electricity Company of Ghana, Accra, the Executive Director, Energy Commission, and the Executive Secretary, Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission, Accra. This letter is pursuant to the Energy Commission's appointment of ECG as the interim operator of the electricity retail sales license in the Southern Distribution Zone. The Ministry of Finance Finance is currently facilitating the defreezing of PDS accounts to ensure that there are funds available to support day-to-day operations. The following interim arrangements are to be complied with by PDS concerning the operations of all revenue accounts until all outstanding issues have been resolved. ECG will exercise oversight responsibility over the movement of funds from all PDS bank accounts. PDS will continue to operate the existing bank accounts. PDS must lodge all cash and check collections into the bank accounts intact. No staff of PDS is permitted to keep any cash or check collected. ECG must be provided with detailed revenue collection and expenditure reports on a weekly basis and a relevant bank statement to support same at the close of business daily. ECG must approve all payments, transfers and disbursements of funds from the PDS bank account before they are effected. This arrangement is not to undermine the PDS authority to disburse, but to ensure transparency in the operations of the revenue accounts, which are to be controlled by ECG during the period that the suspension of the electricity sales license to PDS is in force.
You heard the extract of that letter to the management of PDS signed by the finance minister. Now, Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu says his office does not have the mandate to investigate financial and economic crimes. Ms. Amidu has been responding to growing calls on him to investigate the power distribution service saga after government suspended the deal over some infractions that you were aware of. Several anti-corruption campaigners as well as the minority in parliament won the office of the Special Prosecutor to probe the matter. Listen to former Deputy Power Minister John Jinapor last week when the minority addressed a news conference.
During the parliamentary sitting, we detected that most of the companies did not have the technical and financial muscle to steer through the affairs as far as the concession was concerned. Even more disturbing was the fact that we detected that some of the companies did not even have offices. As if that was not enough, some of the companies were hurriedly incorporated after Miracle of Manila won the contract. How can the Akufo-Addo government be so cruel to Ghanaians and ECG, a strategic institution with a workforce of 6,000 and an asset worth about 20 billion, be handed over and mortgaged to cronies, friends, and apparatchiks? Indeed, this is a clear opportunity for the special prosecutor to move into action, commence action, and do justice to this subject matter.
Well, Ms. Amidu has been responding directly to that call from the former Deputy Prime Minister John Jinapor. His latest epistle says doing so will be going outside the remit of the law setting up the office of the Special Prosecutor. Joining his editor Fifi Kumsin joins me in studio with details from that epistle. What more is Mr. Amidu saying?
Well, Mr. Amidu says he's restricted by the very law establishing his office. That's the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act 2017, Act 959. His main worry is with the many people requesting that he investigates fraud in relation to the PDS saga, the transfer of shares and so on and so forth. So he talks about one of them here. He says, on Sunday, 4th August 2019, my anti-corruption crusader friend, colleague, and member of Occupy Ghana was reported on Ghana Web to have said, if you really want to get to it, the contracts around the energy sector are probably what Amidu should be paying attention to, because that for me is where the fraud is. He says he can't investigate issues relating to fraud.
But he talks about this very law that you stated earlier. What exactly does this law say?
So he writes, it may be useful to amplify briefly the corruption and corruption-related offences are apportioned for investigation and prosecution by the office. The following are the offences created under Act 959. A. Section 146 deals with dishonestly receiving property that a person knows to have been obtained or appropriated by a punishable criminal offence. Section 151 deals with persons who extort property from any other person by means of threat as committing a second-degree felony. Section 179C deals with using public office for private gain as a criminal offense. Section 239 deals with corruption of and by public officers as a misdemeanor. Section 252 deals with accepting or giving bribe to influence public officer or juror as a misdemeanor. And he goes on and on to even talk about the Public Procurement Act 2013, Act 663, which deals with offences constituted under the Act for which jurisdiction is given to the office. So he says that he's unable to investigate matters relating to fraud.
So that's the epistle from the special prosecutor justifying why he cannot investigate this PDS saga, even though there are calls on him to do so. Away from that, a delegation from the Ghana Police Service is headed to Western Regional Capital Takoradi to meet the families of the 3 missing Takoradi girls. The visit follows the family's decision to cooperate with the police to provide samples for forensic analysis. You recall, the families of the girls, especially father of Prisla Mansibia Kranche, Alexander Kranche, told Joy News that they could not avail themselves to the police for any DNA until the many yet to be answered questions boggling his mind gets cleared by the police. But spokesperson for the families, Michael Grant Hayford, said they are all now willing to cooperate with the police in providing samples for forensic analysis.
And now that we, the family, believe that the corpse that the police are claiming that they have found is not our corpse, and then the police are also saying that for the investigation to go on, they need to do the DNA test. In fact, it was a very tough decision for the family to take us in, to agree to go for that DNA test. But I have advised the family to go for the DNA test, and then as I'm speaking, they all agreed. Even the one that they are finding it difficult to, agree, I have been able to convince them to agree to, go for the DNA test. But when they finish the DNA test and then the report that will come, that at the end of the 3 family will come together and then if we agree or if we should go for another independent to get the clarification or to get the confirmation that indeed what the report that they will be giving or they will come out or whatever is true or false.
You heard that Michael Grant Hayford, he's spokesperson for the families of the 3 missing girls. Meanwhile, the police says it will consider the family's request to allow an independent forensic analyst to be present during the forensic analysis. ACP David Oklu is the Director General of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service.
I think those concerns will be taken into consideration because we also want to get results that can be trusted and accepted by both parties. So those concerns can be taken into consideration. But we need their cooperation first before we get there. When some of these issues happen, yes, the presence of the family, the involvement of the family in homicide or suicide, homicide cases is very critical. So we have listened to them and we'll look at it and see and come out the best option that will satisfy both sides, the law, the legal side, and then the family side.
Director General of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service, ACP David Oklu. Let's go to Takoradi now and speak to our correspondent, Ina Thalia Kwanza. Okay, so Ina will join us shortly. We will check if the delegation have indeed arrived in Takoradi for that forensic analysis to begin. But lack of security posts and unmanned entry points at the Ghana-Togo-Burkina borders in the Upper East region is fueling criminal activities there. Even for manned stations, inadequate logistics challenge efficiency officers in clamping down on criminal activities. Aside from smuggling of banned items, residents say armed robbery is rife and lack of collaboration among security officials makes it difficult to track and arrest criminals. In today's story, as part of a series on the state of Ghana's borders, Mohammed Nuruddin travels through 5 border towns investigating cross-border activities between Ghanaians and their counterparts in Togo and Burkina Faso.
Robbery is becoming the most widespread as residents recount their experience.
Yeah, one of our brothers came from Togo and he's coming back and 2 armed robbers just attack him by the river here.
This is one of 2 approved entry points, Pulumankum in the Pusiga district. Officers here declined to speak on record, but they say multiple unapproved entry points and lack of logistics for security personnel here remain the biggest challenge. Only 1 patrol vehicle is available for patrols at the entry points on a daily basis. This is Kulungungu, another approved entry point in the district. Everything here is done perfectly for travelers and vehicle owners. These long trucks carrying onions from Niger have to undergo lots of documentation to be allowed to enter Ghana. Both customs and immigration officials must be alert as they always make sure checks are done properly on travelers. But just some meters away is another unapproved entry point, providing access to many foreigners who either ride or walk.
Last month we experienced this, and we follow a thief who ran inside here, that we can't go after him because he has already crossed the border.
There are many unapproved routes both Ghanaians and foreigners use to ply their trade, legal or otherwise. On June 24, 2019, 3 police officers from Togo entered Ghana to arrest a suspected fraudster at Congo in the Timpane district. The officers did not seek any clearance or even collaborate with their Ghanaian counterparts.
So that's the part 2 of our porous borders from the Upper East region. That report put together by Mohamed Mahmoud Nuruddin. But the Deputy Interior Minister, Henry Quartey, has been commenting on Ghana's porous borders. He says that some arrests of people who try to use unapproved routes into the country have been made in the past months. My colleague Maxo Agbagba is with him in Koforidua and joins us on the line with details. So how many arrests did he say have been made in the past month, did he say?
Well, he did not state the number of arrests that we've made in the past 2 to 3 months, but he says indeed Ghana has some porous borders. But in the last month, the Ghana Immigration Service and other security agencies have been successful in arresting some persons who tried to enter the country using unapproved routes. He says the country is making steady progress in dealing with the situation.
You heard my colleague Maxo Agbagba on Ghana's porous borders and the comments being made by the Deputy Interior Minister on it. You're still listening to the Midday News. We'll take a quick break. Before then, a quick recap of our top stories. 4 Indian businessmen and 2 Ghanaians seized in dawn operation by armed national security operatives at Ahojo in Kumasi. But still to come.
If I should go for it again, I will still go for vaginal.
If you know you're not comfortable with the vaginal, please have your CS.
If men are concerned about how tight your vaginas are, maybe they need to focus on making their penises bigger.
We'll bring you the views of women on the birthing method stage shows and if giving a second chance, if they would stick to vaginal or cesarean section. What's your experience? It's coming up after sports and this break.
Let's go, My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go!
Kremasa, Ghana, so we pay correct medicine pa. And you make us super. Me a super medicine ankasa. Because our job no enye better. They won't see how beautiful and high quality your work is. That be what them they use believe you. That be why me too. It be only super cement I they use. Cement mu cement. Cement papa pa. Intere me crimes in yina from me cause super. Because me the super cement I dividend ra.
Super cement is designed to ensure that your buildings stand strong for generations. Build with Supersem Cement. Build your dream. Build.
And the day is here. Transfer window deadline is here. And exactly. Benedict has the latest.
Yes, sir, friend. You know, with the new season, a matter of days, our managers will be hoping to put finishing touches on their respective squads. But several deals have yet to be completed. Arsenal, Tottenham, Manchester United are just 3 of the teams who are yet to conclude their business, much to their frustration to their respective fans. He has 7 transfers that could and are expected to go through before this evening's 5 p.m. deadline.
Arsenal's long and frustrating pursuit of Celtic defender Kieran Tierney is set to come to an end today. Romelu Lukaku's days as a Manchester United player look set to come to an end today, with the Italian giants Inter Milan acquiring his services. Like the North London rivals Arsenal, Tottenham have been chasing the signature of Fulham youngster Ryan Sessegnon for some time. Crystal Palace may be playing hardball with Wilfried Zaha, but the Ivory Coast international is more likely to leave Selhurst Park today. Perhaps the shock transfer of this window will be David Luiz's move from Chelsea to Arsenal. Another player set to arrive at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is Argentina international Giovanni Lo Celso. Manchester United are expected to complete a deal for Juventus hitman Mario Mandzukic.
And of course, always a dramatic end to the window. And we are here to take you through everything from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on the Joy News channel with experts from around the world on the Joy Transfer Countdown show. You can't miss this. I'll be on, Gary Smith, George Adu Jr. and the other guys. I will be on as well. You know, as I took the Courage Gold are involved in their CAF Interclub competitions this weekend. So Kumasi Asante Kotoko are playing the CAF Champions League and Ashanti Gold are in the CAF Confederation Cup. Both teams have arrived at their respective destinations. Kotoko are going to, they are in Nigeria and then Ash Gold are in Equatorial Guinea. That's your sport.
Thank you very much, Benedict. Now, the Forestry Commission is denying claims in an investigative report that its officials are taking in bribes to allow for illegal export of rosewood. The commission, however, says it will investigate the allegations. Now, the report by US-based not-for-profit organization Environmental Investigation Agency claimed, among others, that the director of Wildlife Division of the Commission was taking percentages of illegally exported rosewood to allow illegal trade to thrive. But the Commission is denying those allegations. Public Relations Officer of the Commission, Joyce Ofori-Kwafo, has been speaking to my colleague Benes Abobedu on News Desk.
Whoever has any proof of his involvement in any bribery allegation or whatever should come forward with that proof for us to see.
Okay.
He who alleges must prove. So
sure.
The person must come forward to prove that on so and so a day. This is what went on between myself and Nana Kofi Edunsia in that direction. So when we are working as Forestry Commission, we don't look at party affiliations. It's about the individual or the company. If you have all your right documents, you are good to go. Whether you are ABC or GOY or OJK, nobody cares about that. So for somebody to say that we were issuing the permits to NPP members, in fact, I don't have any records to prove that, and I haven't seen anything like that. I don't think it is true.
You heard Joyce Ofori-Kwafo. She's the Public Relations Officer of the Forestry Commission. Now, founder of African University College of Communication, Kojo Yanka, has described the treatment of the media under the Akufo-Addo administration as barbaric and retrogressive. In an exclusive interview with Kojo Yankson, former editor-in-chief of the Daily Graphic newspaper, says he was disappointed in the president's performance in the area of upholding media freedom.
People went into the streets and fought against the culture of silence. And you cannot silence people in this world now, today. If you want to take steps to silence people, you are mistaken. If you don't have anything to hide, come on, open up. But defend yourself when the media criticize or say anything against you. Don't go after them. It's barbaric. It's retrogression.
Well, Mr. Yanka, who served as minister under the Rawlings administration, had some advice for the government, though, on this. But do join our campaign. It's the hashtag Defend Media Freedom. And, of course, he launched his book yesterday, From Jamestown to Jamestown as well. Now, years ago, many women had to undergo a cesarean section, CS, only because of medical complications. But today, the story is different. The choice of CS has now become popular, contrary to myths. Those who choose that birthing method are not woman enough. On a buried all-female chat show, Strong and Sassy, on Joy 99.7 FM, some mothers discuss the topic: would you opt for a cesarean section just to protect your genitals? Host Na Shoko and her friends discuss vaginal birth versus the cesarean birth and its implications on their health and sex life. If you missed it, listen.
I had vaginal again, and the midwife decided not to give me an epidural, and I tore in different directions. When I came home, I felt like the stitches were coming out, so I went back, and my gynae told me that it was loose, but it was okay. There are pain aids that we can use, so if I should go for it again, I will still go for vaginal because you can work on it and actually come out with a different perspective.
After I had him, I didn't want to have sex for a while because I just felt like it just wasn't the same anymore. But well, now that baby's head has come out of that area, then I don't really think that it's going to feel the same anymore. Does it feel the same now? I suppose it does. I haven't had any complaints. If men are concerned about how tight your vaginas are, maybe they need to.
And that's the Bed All conversation on Strong and Sassy. It's on every Wednesday at 9 p.m. with Na Ashoko and her friends. What's trending on social media?
People are talking about hashtag deadline day. This one is from Sammy Bottles, who says some of the antics, rumors, and player links on hashtag deadline day are just calculated to make club administrators like Ed Woodward look like they're doing something and there's nothing in it. This one is from Queen Inspiration, who says today is the transfer hashtag deadline day for the English Premier League. Is your club done with all the transfer business, bringing in the needed reinforcements to augment its squad? What does the club need to do before the window shuts down? And the Joy Sports team has a solid production coming on Joy News on TV, and that's from 3 to 6. And you can send your 1-minute videos to be aired during the show on 0244 619 907, 0244 619 907, and it's hashtag deadline day and hashtag transfer countdown on Joy Sports.
It's 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. You don't want to miss that. That's it for the midday news, brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, and SuperSim. Build your dream. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am MFA Pau. Thanks so much for your company.